What may have been right for you 5 years ago may not be right for you anymore in the next 5 years. And that's very normal. Welcome to the Productive Introvert Community Podcast, helping ambitious introverts who feel deep down that they can add more value to the world to really thrive in their work. I'm Mariela Franker, and I'll be sharing what I'm learning as an introverted entrepreneur, a natural productivity coach, and a mom while I build my business online and take care of my family and myself. In this podcast, you'll learn the mindset and the practical steps to naturally increase the impact of your work while making space for your unique strengths as an introvert. I'm sitting outside on my porch of my little office cabin today. So you may hear some birds around me, maybe an airplane flying over. Whenever I tell people who've known me for a long time, especially family, about my work, they often ask me this type of question. So you don't use the knowledge from your studies at all anymore? Or it's a shame though that you don't use your education anymore, isn't it? And just recently, someone asked me, what you do now is so different. Do you ever miss your old job? The short answer to these questions is no. Although I really enjoyed the roles that I had before, yes, even the PhD, which wasn't all rainbows and unicorns. In hindsight, it was never about saying goodbye to any of those things. All those roles leading up to the one that I have now, they were a natural evolution of where I needed to go. In a way, they reflect the person that I was then and that I have now grown into and am still growing into. I'm sure that my role will keep changing as I continue to grow. Often we feel torn between the idea of staying or going. Sometimes it's job related, and the thought of putting yourself out there to find a new role is so daunting that it keeps you where you are, even though you feel deep down that you're no longer a match for the role or the environment that you're working in. Sometimes it's around setting boundaries with clients, friends, or family because things have always been a certain way and you feel pressure to stay within that expectation, even though you know that's no longer working for you. And sometimes it's around making a purposeful change in your business because you're not quite sure what's on the other side of that change. And of course, that's scary, even though making the change would likely make your work so much more meaningful. We're often held back from making changes because we think that will disappoint people or that just isn't in the cards for us right now. I'm here to tell you that it is. It's closer to you than you think to live a meaningful and fulfilling life. And it's simpler than you think to get there from where you are now. You see, this isn't about giving up on something. It isn't about plunging into the unknown head first, right? I'm a writer, so the way that I like to think of it is that you've written the last sentences of this chapter of your life and that you're just starting to write the next one. Your story is still evolving, and so are you. So I thought I might answer those questions that I get all the time from people. The first one, I never use the knowledge from my studies anymore. I was trained as a molecular biologist, and I used to spend my time either pipetting in a lab, watching dots move under a microscope, or analyzing those dots behind a computer. Of course, there's much more to it than that, but on the daily, those were my main activities. But what I was actually learning was analytical thinking, how to observe and draw conclusions, how to test ideas and analyze data. This analytical thinking, it still serves me every single day. I use it in my business, I use it in my coaching. The analytical thinking that I learned during my studies, it helps me as a coach to quickly mirror back to my clients what's going on for them internally and to connect that with what could be the best next step for them. Yes, what I do now, it's very different from what I've done in the past. And few people will really see the overlap between my background as a scientist and my work as a coach now. Sometimes there isn't a direct overlap at all, let's be honest. But the point is, nothing is ever lost. You take everything that you've ever done, everything that you've ever learned, you take that with you. You may have a completely different background than I do. Maybe you've always worked in the same role and you're happy in that role, but you want a better quality of life. You want to live a different type of life than you've been living. And that's a good thing. What may have been right for you 5 years ago may not be right for you anymore in the next 5 years. And that's very normal. Or maybe you are doubting if the path that you're on is the right one for you, but you're unsure if you have what it takes to do things differently. Think of all the things that you've been through in the past. Think of all the things you've succeeded at, all the things that you've learned. Nothing is ever lost. It's not about giving up on what you've built so far. It's about taking the next step in your natural evolution, writing that next chapter, whatever that looks like for you. Do I miss my old job? No. I enjoyed working in the lab, and also the roles I had after that as a magazine editor, a writer, and a science communicator. Sometimes I do miss my colleagues. I'm fortunate that I still have contact with many of them, and we meet up from time to time, which is always a lot of fun. But what I found by embracing this natural evolution of myself, as well as my roles in my work, it has led me to a much more fulfilling and joyful life today. Nothing fills me up more than working with the amazing people that I get to coach now. Just the other day, something happened that really shook me, actually. Someone new was joining my coaching program, and it was supposed to be just a startup call. So after we have our initial call and we decide that we're a good fit, I always have a startup call before we start the coaching program. And that's just a short call to decide together what the best starting point would be for you in the coaching program. So this lady, we were having the startup call, and we spoke for about 30 minutes and then picked a time for our first official coaching call. But a few minutes after we hung up, she sent me a message asking if she could take a few more minutes of my time. I had no other appointments that morning, so I called her right back. And we spoke for almost an hour after that. And that hour was like a storm building up and then gently passing. When we said our goodbyes again, she said, "You've helped me more in this 1 hour than all the programs I've tried in the past 6 months." These words, they really shook me, and I still think of them often. And coupled with that, about how intensely grateful I am that I get to do this work. Sometimes I don't know where a call will lead. Sometimes all I do is listen. I listen very carefully, looking for words, patterns, connections. Then I'll ask a question. That's a good question, the person will say. And there'll usually be a long pause, and then a moment of clarity. Something that was in you the whole time, but that just needed a little bit of assistance to come to the surface. Being able to have an impact on someone's life like that is incredibly fulfilling, and it's also humbling. Because I know I would not have been here and I would not have been able to do any of this if it wasn't for my experiences in the past, both good and bad. They helped shape me and direct me on my path. And all the people who I met along the way, my mentors and ambassadors, people who believed in me before I did. And then I'm thinking all of these people, all these names that come into my mind. And I'm going to name a few of those names. I don't know if you'll ever hear this, but I want to verbalize this because I've been thinking about it a lot lately. So these are some of my mentors and my ambassadors over the years. Erwin, who gave me the confidence and the opportunity to take on an internship in the US. That internship opened up my world. It had a huge impact on me. Even today, that is one of the experiences that really changed my life. Marluz, who certified me as a coach and has mentored me over the years and opened doors for me that I didn't even know existed. Vicky, who saw something in my work like long before it made sense to anyone, myself included, and who became the kindest and most humble ambassador for my work that I've ever met, while at the same time doing amazing work with her clients herself. Ellen, who finally gave me the courage and the confidence to do marketing for my business in a way that feels truly aligned. My partner Suraj and my brother Raul, two strong and kind men in my life who have always supported me and cheered me on, no matter what I was working on or what I was failing at. Over to my parents, who made the difficult decision to send both of their kids to study abroad at just 18 years old, on the hope and the wish that they would have a better chance at life. There are so many other people who I've met along the way and who have impacted me and had a positive influence of my life. These are just a few of those. Because the amazing people that I get to work with in my coaching programs, and you here in the PIC community, I get to hang out with these amazing people almost every day now. And that just lights me up right there, you know. I've spoken to many of the PIC community members. I was going to say in person, but in person means Zoom, right? These days, I've met some of you in person, but most I've spoken to you via Zoom. It kind of feels like got to know each other a little bit. And they are incredibly kind and hardworking people. I see them in the way that they're always working to improve not only their lives, but also the lives of the people around them, using their natural advantage to spread joy to other people. You also have a natural advantage, whether you realize it or not. It's a process that you naturally excel at and that you unconsciously use to spread joy to others. And by extension, creates meaning and fulfillment in your own life. If this is all new to you, or if you have doubts about your capabilities or a change that you're wanting to make, I want to reassure you, I truly believe that you always make the right decision for you at that moment in time. Nothing is ever lost. Thank you for hanging out with me. Wishing you a joyful flow today, and let's talk again next week. Thank you for listening to the Productive Introvert Community Podcast. If you're an introverted entrepreneur and you're ready to thrive in your own way, then connect with me on thefrankermessage.com/contact.